Father David.
Yes.
But already he has a docket in his office. He must make sure
Yes.
that he then kills Joab.
Mm.
And now, if you want to know when Joab died, you can go to chapter 2, verse 29.
Yes.
Let's read. It was told King Solomon
Mhm.
that Joab was fled unto the tabernacle of the Lord,
Mhm.
and behold, he is by the altar. Then Solomon sent Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, saying, Go, fall upon him. And Benaiah came to the tabernacle of the Lord and said unto him, Thus says the king, Come forth. And he said, Deny, but I will die here. And Benaiah brought the king word again, saying, Thus said Joab, and thus he answered me. And the king said unto him, Do as he has said, and fall upon him and bury him, that thou mayest take away the innocent blood which Joab shed from me and from the house of my father.
Mm.
And this is how Joab died.
Yes.
But if you look at verse number 31, Pastor,
Yes.
Solomon is saying,
Mhm.
the blood that Joab
God
shed will be upon the nation
Mhm.
as long as Joab is alive.
Yes.
Read verse 31 again.
And the king said unto him, Do as he has said, and fall upon him, and bury him, that thou mayest take away the innocent blood which Joab shed from me and from the house of my father.
Yes.
Did Benaiah kill Joab? Verse 34.
So Benaiah the son of Jehoiada went up and fell upon him and slew him, and he was buried in his own house in the wilderness.
Joab was buried by Benaiah.
Mm.
There was not proclaimed a national day of mourning.
Yes.
The death of a murderer does not require people to mourn.
Mm.
So this is some of the problems we have. I don't know if people are going to remember what I'm going to say now.
Mhm.
Every time an innocent person is murdered
Mhm.
in a country and nothing is done to the murderers,
Mhm.
there is a curse that comes upon that land.
Mhm.
The whole land becomes accursed
Mhm.
because the population is making it fashionable
Yes.
for murderers to continue.
Mhm.
When somebody is murdered,
Mhm.
the society must turn against the murderer and hold him accountable,
Yes.
so that the blood of the person who has been murdered may not be held against everyone.
Mhm.
You see now,
Yes.
God holds all Zimbabweans guilty
Mhm.
for the murder of More Blessing Ali.
Mhm.
God holds the whole nation guilty for the disappearance of Itai Dzamara.
Yes.
God holds the nation guilty for the murder of Mboneni Ncube, Langelihle Dube, and everyone who has been murdered.
Mhm.
The Tondera Indiras, the Talent Chiminya and Mabikas, all the people who have been murdered with impunity.
Yes.
The nation of Zimbabwe
Mhm.
is carrying the guilt of all those people. That's why Solomon said to Benaiah, Kill Joab,
God.
so that thou mayest take away the innocent blood which Joab shed from me
Mhm.
and from the house of my father.
Yes.
Are you hearing this?
Yes.
When people are dying
Yes.
because of murder,
Mhm.
even if you are not the murderer,
Yes.
you will pay the price.
Yes.
Naturally, there is a case that comes upon such people.
Yes.
That's why I say that people will say, why is Chiwenga saying Zimbabwe is a case? I will show you, Brother Nelson.
Mm.
Now. Let's go to 2 Samuel. I want to show you, I'm proving by scripture
Mhm.
that Zimbabwe is cursed.
Yes.
2 Samuel 21.
Mhm.
You don't like me, I know. Continue to hate me. You are the right person to hate me.
Yes.
I'm not meant to be liked by infidels.
Yes.
But what I say is what God says.
Yes.
If you want to know
Mhm.
what God is saying about Zimbabwe,
Yes.
this is the time to learn from me.
Yes.
What I'm telling you now is what God literally hounds me with these matters. When he wants to talk to me, I find no peace.
Yes.
And then when I come to talk to you here, I'm telling you some of the things that God has allowed me to talk to you about. There are things about Zimbabwe
Mhm.
that I'll only be able to speak to a few people.
Mhm.
Why are you saying Zimbabwe is cursed? I've already told you.
Mhm.
When blood is being spilled
Mhm.
by murderers, terrorists, and the nation, the whole people, the whole population does nothing
Mhm.
to hold the murderer accountable,
Yes.
the whole nation becomes guilty of that blood. You are pamberi paMwari tese takauraya mo blessing ali.
Mhm.
Ndozvo zvakatoita.
Yes.
As long as the murderer is walking free,
Mhm.
he goes into the bus, the bus, he goes to town, he goes into the supermarket, he buys groceries, he comes back home. People see him and they point fingers and say, here is the man who killed Mo Blessing Ali. When that happens, the whole nation is guilty. And there are certain religions which are very lost, but I don't know how God does it. They have a certain strange understanding of how God judges issues to do with the blood. Go into Islam.
Yes.
In the Muslim world,
Mhm.
if you kill someone, especially their fellow Muslim,
Yes.
you will die.
Yes.
There is no jail for such people.
Yes.
They will kill you.
Mm.
That's what Sharia says.
Yes.
They use Sharia law to judge murderers.
Mm.
Pawauraira munhu ipapo ndo pavanokuuraira.
Yes.
Zvotopera. They don't bury you, they will burn you up.
Yes.
Murderers should not have graves.
Yes.
Don't you know what Josiah did? He dug up the bones
Yes.
of dead murderers
Yes.
and he burned them.
Yes.
Josiah burned the bones
Yes.
when he took office from his father Ammon.
Yes.
He realized that there were so many people who were murdered before he took office.
Yes.
But some of the murderers had died before he took office. Josiah akanofukunyura makuva emhondi
Yes.
akapisa mabhonzo acho. Iwo unonge uchitiko zvino kana vakafa zvava zvichine basa rei zvanga zviine basa pamberi paMwari.
Yes.
Murderers do not need graves.
Mm.
As I talk to you right now, by the day we are going to have a God-fearing president, he will need to ask us on how to bring the case out of Zimbabwe,
Yes.
how to cleanse the nation.
Yes.
You are going to see things that you have never seen in your entire life. Some of us, tell your neighbor, he said some of us.
Some of us.
Ah.
He said some of us.
So I want to talk about Josiah, and I want to just give you a few scriptures. I don't like to tell you biblical issues as if I'm telling a folk story. I really want to show you where it happened.
Yes.
So we are in 2 Kings 23.
Yes.
2 Kings 23, verse number 5.
And he
Start
put down.
from verse 4. And the king commanded Hilkiah the high priest,
Yes.
this is King Josiah,
Yes.
and the priests of the second order and the keepers of the door,
Yes.
to bring forth out of the temple of the Lord all the vessels that were made of bow, and for the groove, and for all the host of heaven, and he burned them without Jerusalem in the fields of Kidron, and he carried the ashes of them unto Bethel.
Yes.
Yes,
And he put down the idolatrous priests,
he killed the idolatrous priests. Yes,
whom the kings of Judah had ordained to burn incense in the high places in the cities of Judah,
yes,
and in the places round about Jerusalem, them also that burned incense unto bow, to the sun and to the moon, and to the planets, and to all the host of heaven. And he brought out the grove from the house of the Lord without Jerusalem unto the brook Kidron, and burned it, and at the brook Kidron, and stamped it small to powder, and cast the powder thereof upon the graves of the children of the people.
verse 16.
And as Josiah turned himself,
As Josiah was walking,
Yes.
he spied the sepulchres.
he
that
saw
were-
the graves
Yes,
that were in the mountain.
yes.
Yes,
and sent and took the bones out of the
He
sepulchres.
dug up graves
Yes.
and collected the bones
Yes.
of dead murderers.
Yes.
Yes.
And burned them upon the altar
Yes.
and polluted it according to the word of the Lord, which the men of God proclaimed, who proclaimed these
Let's
words.
end there.
Mhm.
Why would Josiah waste time digging up graves of dead people?
Eh,
He gathered the bones of dead people. He
Yes.
burned them.
Yes.
What was the purpose?
It's
eh,
cleansing.
He was cleansing the
Yes.
nation.
Yes.
Because murderers should not be buried.
Yes.
Who is
Yes.
Pastor Zokurudzai mashoko aya, murderers should not be buried.
Yes.
Murderers should not be buried.
Mondo adzivigwe.
They should not have a decent burial.
Yes.
What for?
Muri kuzviona kuti nyika yedu iri caged?
Yeah.
Because people are actually proclaiming a national day of mourning
Mm.
to mourn murderers.
Yes.
They are flying the flag at half-mast
Mhm.
to honor murderers.
Yes.
Shedding of blood in a time of peace and not in a time of war.
Yes.
More Blessing Ali was murdered in a time of peace.
Mm.
Yes.
Whoever killed More Blessing Ali
Yes.
should not have a grave.
Yes.
Is it true that the whole nation can be cursed because a murderer has not been held accountable?
Mm.
2 Samuel 21 from verse 1.
Then there was a famine in the days of David 3 years, year after year. And David inquired of the Lord, and the Lord answered, It is for Saul and for his bloody house, because he slew the Gibeonites.
Read again verse 21.
Then there was a famine in the days of David 3
Kwakaita
years.
nzara mazuva aDhavhidhi
3 years.
3 years vanhu vachifa nenzara. MuIsraeri makamboita nzara.
Yes.
Yes.
Year after year.
Gore negore vanhu vaifa nenzara.
And David inquired of the
Ndobva
Lord.
Dhavhidhi abvunza akati, ko imi Mwari hamusidai, mvura makaibatirei, tiri kufa nenzara.
Mm.
And the Lord answered,
Zvikanzi naMwari,
It is for Saul
tiri kunyimisa mvura nekuda kwaSauro
and for his bloody house,
nekuda kweropa raakadeura,
because he slew the
nekuti
Gibeonites.
Sauro akauraya vaGibheoni.
Yes.
Amen.
Hey.
Amen.
It is.
David, the man after God's heart,
Yes.
despite his good relationship with God,
Mm.
God punished Israel
Mhm.
because of Saul's
Saul.
actions.
Yes.
But Saul had died a long time ago.
Mm.
Saul died in 1 Samuel 31.
Yes.
We are in 2 Samuel 21.
21.
David is more than 20 years on the throne.
Mm.
But God is punishing Israel because of the sins of a dead king.
Yes.
Handizive kuti muri kundinzwa here.
Uh,
Dhavhidhi nevanhu vaIsraeri vakarohwa neshamhu yenzara
Yes.
for 3 years.
Yes.
Mwari achitsiva ropa revaGibheoni
Yes.
vakaurayiwa naSauro asati afa. Sauro wacho akauraya vaGibheoni akafa kare kare.
Yes.
Kana mukada kutoti mutsvage kuti Sauro wakavaurayire, hapasisina Sauro akafa.
Yes.
Mwari akati, inini ikesi, this is a case.
Yes.
Is this not a case, Pastor?
it
It is a
is.
case.
It
Is this not a case?
It is a case.
Wasn't Israel cursed with a famine?
It was.
It was
What was the problem?
because of blood.
Because of
Innocent
blood.
people.
Yes.
They killed innocent Gibeonites,
Yes.
the people of Saul.
In the
And
time
God
of
kept
peace.
quiet.
Mm.
David took over. He was tranquil. He was in a time of peace. He enjoyed himself.
Mm.
All of a sudden, there's
Yes.
nothing working in Israel. You try to go to work, they are giving you useless bond notes.
Mm.
You try to sell something, you don't get any profit. You go into the supermarket,
Mhm.
you can't buy cooking oil.
Mm.
Everything is not affordable in Zimbabwe right now. Why is that? It's a curse.
Yes.
Take it from me.
Mm.
Zimbabwe is cursed. There are so many reasons why Zimbabwe is cursed. At the top of those reasons, you are going to find innocent blood.
Mm.
Everyone is being punished because we are complicit. We are encouraging murderers to continue to kill people.
Mm.
And now the whole nation is cursed.
Yes.
Read again, chapter 21, verse 1.
Then there was a famine in the days of David.
There was a famine in the days of David.
3 years,
3 years,
year after year.
year after year.
And David inquired of the Lord,
David asked God,
and the Lord answered,
and
It
David
is
said,
for so.
but Lord, I know you can bring rain. I know you can solve our problems.
Yes.
We thank God Israel had a God-fearing king
Yes.
who could pray to God,
Mhm.
and God could give him answers
Yes.
to explain what was the problem.
Yes.
And David did not start lying to the people.
Mhm.
Your economic problems are as a result of external influence. Our economy is hurt badly because of sanctions. No, David knew that these are not sanctions.
Yes.
This is God. Our
Yes.
problems, they show us that they are God's fingerprints in these problems.
Yes.
Look at what they did. They hired him to Nuwe and they over-advertised him.
Mhm.
He is an economist, a celebrated economist with a vast wealth of experience in financial issues, finance issues. And people were hopeful that Tuli Nuwe is going to change the economy. Yes, Nej. People are looking for Tuli Nuwe's mother to beg her to take back her son. She has become the worst finance minister since independence.
Yes.
What is wrong? It's a curse.
Yes. Yes.
Tuli Nuwe, if he is given a different country, he can change things and things will work.
Yeah.
He is not incompetent.
Mm.
He is trying to heal a cursed nation.
Yes.
There is only one method that a case may be reversed.
Yes.
You don't hire competent people.
Yes.
You come to God and correct mistakes.
Amen.
So David said, why is it we are suffering from drought? And God said, it's because of innocent blood. David said, but I didn't shed innocent blood. And God said, it's your predecessor. You took over from a bloody man. Saul killed the Gibeonites. That's why I'm holding rain. You will suffer. Then ndakagara pachigaro changu chakakwirira so muchifa nenzara. So David, what did he do in verse 2?
And the king called the Gibeonites and said
In
unto them,
order for this case to be reversed,
Yes.
God, this is where people are going to be surprised.
Yes.
In order for this case to be reversed,
Yes.
David did not convene a national day of prayer.
Yes.
Pray for Zimbabwe. Pray for Zimbabwe. Prayers do not reverse cases, my dear friends.
Yes.
Yes.
Try it. I wish you all the best. Tichikutsigirai. Isu tinotaura naMwari tichikutsigirai.
Yes.
Mukaita prayer tichikutsigirai. Hatikurambidze. Tichakakutarisai. Uchipedza kuita prayer petu rinobva yakwira. Itonge ndima toikwidza nekuita prayer. David knew that cases are reversed by obeying God's corrective instructions.
Yes.
David had to talk to the Gibeonites
Yes.
who lost their loved ones because they were murdered by Saul.
Yes.
David called them. Read verse 2 again.
And the king called the Gibeonites and said unto
Read
them,
faster.
Now the Gibeonites were not of the children of Israel, but of the remnant of the Amorites and of the children of Israel. And the children of Israel had sworn unto them, and Saul sought to slay them in his zeal for the children of Israel.
To the
and
children of Israel and Judah.
Wherefore,
You see why Saul killed the Gibeonites?
Yes.
He wanted to please the children of Judah.
Yes.
Verse 3, Pastor.
Wherefore David said unto the Gibeonites, what shall I do for you? And wherewith shall I make the atonement, that you may bless the inheritance of the Lord?
Did you hear that?
Yes.
David did not ask God for a blessing. David spoke to the victims of these atrocities.
Yes.
We are going to need to talk to the Matebeleland people
Oh, yes.
to appease them for the Gukurahundi blood.
Yes.
We are going to speak to the victims of the 2008-2009 elections to speak to them,
Yes.
compensate them.
Yes.
That's how it works.
Yes.
It's not me who killed the Gibeonites. It is so. Why should I pay for the sins of Saul?
So-
You will die of hunger.
Yes.
This is how things work.
Yes.
You get it?
Yes.
Yes.
The Gibeonites were invited to the president's palace. And David said, I'm sorry, my predecessor killed your relatives.
Yes.
What can I do so that you may forgive us?
Yes.
How can I pay you so that you may bless us? Because if you are forgiven, forgiveness is a blessing.
Yes.
Forgiveness is a blessing.
Yes.
You don't force people to forgive you.
Oh, yes.
You don't tell yourself that let bygones be bygones. Imagine warepa munhu wotora mai kobuda pa TV uchiti let bygones be bygones. You can't dismiss a matter if you are the accused.
Yes.
If you are the one guilty.
Yes.
Anofanirwa kuti ngazvipere ndeuyo wakatadzira kwete iwewe.
Yes. Yes.
Imagine kuti hurumende inotuma vanhu vainoda iyo kunotaura nevanhu vekubulawayo. Makambozviona izvozvo? Ingakuroora chako unobvunza atezvera kuti munyaya wamunoda ndiani? Kana uchida kukumbira ruregerero hautumi waunoda iwewe.
Oh, yes.
Unotobvunzawo wakatadzira.
Yes.
Totumani kuti titaurirane.
Yes.
Totaurirana sei?
Yes.
Totaurirana kupi nguvai?
Yes.
Peace and Reconciliation Commission isina mandebele. Inosvika yototaura chirungu kumudebele kubulawayo. Tazikatiregerane zvakaitika kare zvakapera. Mwari akuregere, Mwari akukomborere. Iwega. Inzwai vana baba nana amai. Ini ndiri muranda waMwari.
Yes.
Zvandiri kukutaurira izvi ndizvo zvimwe zvandaida kuudza vaMugabe musi wa5 June 2017
Yes.
pandakanyora tsamba ndichida kuvaona. Ndichida kuvaudza zvakare kuti havasisina mazuva akawanda vari pachigaro vakaramba kuzvinzwa.
Yes.
From June to November pane mwedzi mungana. Dai vaMugabe vakandideedza pandakavanyorera tsamba muna musi wa5 June 2017 kuu yakaitwa muna November ingadai isina kuitwa. Because zvimwe zvezvinhu zvandaida kuvaudza ndezvekuti chibvai izvezvi tsvage munhu anoenda pachigaro ichi.
Yes.
Those are some of the things I wanted to tell him. If you read the letter I sent to Mr. Mugabe, I hinted that something wrong is going to happen very soon. I hinted on that. So David called the Gibeonites and he said, what can I do to earn your forgiveness?
Yes.
Verse 4.
And the Gibeonites said unto him, We will have no silver nor gold of Saul, nor of his house, neither for us shalt thou kill any man in Israel. And he said, What you shall say, that will I do for you.
The Gibeonites said, we are not going to be compensated
Yes.
with money. We are not going to ask you to kill innocent people in Israel either.
Yes.
And David said, oh, this is hard.
Yes.
What then should I do for you?
Yes.
Yes.
And they answered the king.
And the Gibeonites
Yes.
told the king how
Yes.
they wanted
Yes.
to be compensated, or how they wanted justice to be served
Yes.
on the house of Saul.
Yes.
Yes.
And they answered the king, The men that consumed us and that devised against us that we should be destroyed from remaining in any of the coasts of Israel,
Yes.
let 7 men of his sons be delivered unto us, and we will hang them up unto the Lord in Gibeah of Saul, whom the Lord did choose. And the king said, I will give them.
Verse 7.
But the king spared Mephibosheth, the son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, because of the Lord's oath that was between them, between David and Jonathan, the son of Saul.
8.
But the king took the 2 sons of Rizpah, the daughter of
Aiah,
Aiah, whom she bare unto Saul,
Yes.
Ammoni and Mephibosheth, and the 5 sons of Michal, the daughter of Saul, whom she brought up for Adriel, the son of Barzillai, the Meholatite.
9.
And he delivered them into the hands of the Gibeonites, and they hanged them in the hill before the Lord. And they fell all 7 together, and were put to death in the days of harvest, in the first days, in the beginning of barley harvest. And
Thank you.
Rizpah,
Thank you. Thank you. We read it for this length of time.
yes,
The idea was I wanted you to know
mhm,
for a surety how this case was reversed.
Yes.
David was told by the Gibeonites,
mhm,
give us 7 men
mhm,
from the family of Saul. We want to kill them. That's how we want justice.
yes,
Blood for blood, an eye for an eye. David said, well, I'll give you to them. I'll give them to you. And he collected the 7 sons of Saul,
yes,
and he gave them to the Gibeonites. And the Bible said in verse 6, the Gibeonites said, let 7 men of his sons be delivered unto us. Listen carefully. And we will hang them up unto the Lord
Yes.
in Gibeah of Saul. Toda kuvabaya kuna Mwari.
mhm,
Vanhu ava toda kutovauraya pamberi paMwari.
Yes.
The Gibeonites wanted the sons of Saul to die for God, because it is God who gave an instruction
yes,
that murderers should die.
Yes.
I remember I gave you Numbers 35.
yes,
In case you may have forgotten, I shared with you Numbers 35, verse
yes,
number 31.
yes,
I really want you to
Yes.
remember that.
Moreover, you shall take no satisfaction for the life of a murderer,
Yes.
which is guilt of death,
Yes.
but he shall surely be put to death.
So the family of Saul
mhm,
lost 7 sons in one day. David used the 7 sons of Saul
Yes.
to appease God for the murder of the Gibeonites, so that they may be reigned
yes,
in Israel.
Yes.
If a nation is cursed,
yes,
you need to have a spiritual man to teach you how to remove that curse.
Yes.
Kuchenurwa
mhm,
ndokuri kuda Zimbabwe.
Yes.
yes,
Ana makandiwa venyava vanoita kunge vachapfekedzwa mabra havasi vanochenjera nyika.
Yes.
These are street kids, useless vagabonds who are patronizing themselves for material benefits.
Yes.
These are grave matters, life and death matters.
Yes.
If you go into the statistics and find out how many women are dying while giving birth today in Zimbabwe, you will not sleep, I'm telling you,
Yes.
because of the state of our hospitals. This is the case. So I'd promised that I wanted to show you something. I gave a prophecy about Joab. And I said, is Joab going to live? Joab, like I said, and as you saw in the scriptures, he was a general. He was an army general.
yes,
He disobeyed God by supporting a criminal insurrection against a properly ordained king of God. The army general supported a renegade rebel son. He supported Adonijah in rising against David. And what we saw in 1 Kings chapter 2 is that we saw David giving charge to Solomon
yes,
that when he takes over from David, he must make sure that he doesn't allow Joab to grow old.
yes,
The reason why Joab should die sooner, it was because he shed blood in a time of peace.
yes.
Let's read again, verse number 5 and 6.
Moreover, thou knowest also what Joab the son of Zeruiah did to me, and what he did to the 2 captains of the hosts of Israel, unto Abner the son of Ner, and unto Amasa the son of Jether, whom he slew, and shed the blood of war in peace, and put the blood of war upon his girdle that was about his loins, and in his shoes that were on his feet. Do therefore according to thy wisdom, and let not his whole head go down to the grave in peace.
So when I asked, is Joab going to live?
Yes.
I was taking that question from 1 Kings chapter 2, verse 5 to 6.
Yes.
And Joab died before he became too old.
Yes.
He died. He was killed by Solomon.
Yes.
Solomon killed Joab to
Yes.
obey God's commandment that he got through David.
David.
So it is not a secret that the military is the one that removed Mr. Mugabe forcefully. But I want to remind you of a certain picture that was very popular in our and trending on social media, the days of Mr. Mugabe's removal, where he was flanked by the military generals at the State House. Let's just see it. That is the image.
Yes.
The red X's there are signifying that the people are not alive anymore. That is Major General, this is General Paradise Mondi at the extreme right, Air Marshal Perenzi Shiri. The other one without a cross is General Valerio Sibanda. That one in police attire is Augustine Churi. There is a yellow X because he is now exiled. And of course, the man on the chair is Mr. Mugabe. He is also late. The question that I asked in the prophecy was, is Joab going to live?
Yes.
And you can answer this question using this image we have showed you there. In the past 3 weeks, we have lost 3 generals in less than a month. And before I show you the images of the generals we have lost now, in the past 3 weeks, I also want to remind you of the face of the military coup. Mr. What's his name? Sibusiso Moyo. Major General Sibusiso Moyo, who was later awarded with a cabinet post as a Minister of Lands.
Yes.
He was Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Yes. Foreign affairs.
Yes, he was appointed as Minister of Foreign Affairs. Let us look at the image of Mr. Sibusiso Moyo. I gave a prophecy and I said, is Joab going to live? If you think these are natural deaths, go and ask what took these lives, the lives of these ones. In the last 3 weeks, we have lost 3 generals in less than a month. Let's look at the image. The 3 that are on the right there, they died in the last 3 weeks. We lost retired Major Bebe, retired Major Nyati, retired Major Chanakira.
Yes.
These 3 generals, we lost them in less than 1 month.
Yes.
And of course, Mr. Sibusiso Moyo died last year. According to their official statement, he had been battling with a natural disease. Now, we are not celebrating the death of these generals.
Yes.
God doesn't enjoy the death of sinners because it's a loss of a time to repentance.
Yes.
But we cannot also ignore the mind of God. Let's concentrate on the prophecy that I want to share with you today. Most of these are now called retired, because they were also forced to retire in the past 2 years because of another political strategy that they are trying to use. Some of the generals were retired, some were posted to various government departments by Mr. Mnangagwa. There are also fights inside their own camp.
Yes.
Everyone who is wise can see those bickerings. I don't need to talk about them. So when I gave a prophecy and said, is Joab going to live? I wasn't specifically meaning one person. Joab is a face Like Mr. S.B. Moyo, he was the face of the military.
Mhm.
There are so many generals
Yes.
who were actively involved in the coup. The coup was not executed by one person.
Mhm.
The coup was executed by a cartel
Yes.
of elite soldiers
Mm.
who were promised hefty rewards if they had participated in the coup. So, may God be true and every man a liar.
Yes.
I want to give you some breathing space so that you can talk to each other on what I've said so far. When I come back, I'm going to speak the prophecy that I want to speak. Stay with us.
Hello there, guys. So those that are watching, thank you so much for staying tuned. We're following this story, the prophecy. But just for for the sake of those that are following JCTV Africa for quite some time, let me just turn off this. You have noticed that I did this prophecy this week, and I actually explained how this prophecy, being an institution, and the apostle is actually reiterating what I said last time. Let me just attend to this. All right. I'm back. So I was just saying that a few days back, I was talking to you about this prophecy, and I don't want to take the glory, but I just wanted to say that to those people that don't know me, I follow Apostle Chiwenga as I go to Jesus Revelation Ministries. So I'm part of the church. And I'm not shy to say that that's me, and I've actually was baptized in 2019. I started following in 2018. So I'm just glad that what I said a few days back, and I was just talking to one of my brothers in Christ about this, that what I said a few days back is being reiterated. Anyway, we're going to continue with the prophet. I don't want to take the glory, but what I'm trying to say is that I picked up something when I was, listening to the prophets of Joab, and it's going to be explained further today. But let's just go back to what Apostle was saying. A few pointers. The first pointer was that in 2017, 5 June to be exact, when there was that guy who was the youth, he was the youth, what do you call it, the youth president for ZANU-PF, Mr. Kuzai Chipanga. He said that Robert Mugabe was not a man, but he was an angel, and he was going to be responsible for the people that are going to go into heaven. And he said this blasphemy in Marondera, in Rudaka Stadium. And he said that to Mai Mugabe, you are not married to a man, you are actually married to an angel. And some of you who do not believe this, when you are going to get to heaven, you are going to see Mr. Mugabe being the man who is going to be choosing those that are going to go to heaven. And Apostle Chiwenga wrote a letter that was supposed to be given to President Mugabe. And then in that process, he refused to have an audience with Apostle Chiwenga. I think he just thought, that small boy. And he said 6 months to that, this then happened, the coup then happened. And he said, I had a message of warning to him that something was going to happen, and he needed to resign at that particular time. If he had resigned then, that would have meant that this Asante Sana thing would not have happened. And then he went on further to show us that the generals that are dying, it coincides with the prophecy of Joab. And I think we can also continue talking about that. So I don't want to preempt, because I'm going to do a full commentary. So please stay tuned to this. Tell us where you are watching us from and which platform are you watching. Are you on JCTV Africa? Are you on Zim Social Network? Please tell us from where are you watching us from. We would love to hear from you. So let's So I was saying, let's just give it a time. The prophecy is surely coming. It's just a small little break, but we are definitely going there. Okay. I was going to get more details, but the Lord instructed me to speak it. So let's go back to the prophecy now, as we are now continuing with this story. Let's go ahead. Out yesterday, and it appears that he wants me to share with you the little details that I have today. There is a statement that we are going to release, which we have already recorded. But the Lord wants me to share with you the prophecy I have before you could take part or to listen to watch that video. So I was seeing a dragon, which looks like, those who have watched horror movies, it looked like a vampire. It was a dragon. It looked like a vampire. I'm not good at drawing. I could have put it on a paper to give you an idea of what I saw. But I prefer to speak it out as I can, and you may not need to go into the simulations of the dragon that I saw.
If you have never seen dragons in movies, you can try to Google them up on the internet. And so this dragon was behind people who were dressed in ZANU-PF attire, political regalia. And there is a lot of things that started coming into me, which the Lord wants me to share with the people of Zimbabwe. First and foremost, I would want to specify and to outline here and now that it is folly, it is a mistake for anyone who comes to our platform to think that as the church we have a vested interest towards a specific group or a certain group in the events or in the issues of our livelihoods in this earth. We do not like any political party above any other political party. As I talk to you right now, I am not a member of any political party. We do not forbid our members from practicing politics, joining politics, taking part in political activities. They have a right to do so, and the doctrine of Christ does not forbid people from leading their fellow countrymen in national leadership. But as a man of God, I do not have that kind of preference. I do not have that kind of luxury. I am a man with a specific assignment, and my assignment does not allow me to find time to deal with issues that are to do with politics. I would prefer that you could understand that, so that whatever I say, you may understand that the interests of God become my own personal interest, the well-being of his people, and also the free course of the gospel. Those are the focal points for whatever we do and whatever we say. When Joshua wanted to go to war against the pagans as they entered into the promised land, the Bible says in verse 5 of Joshua chapter 5, verse 13, it says, "And it came to pass when Joshua was by Jericho that he lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, there stood a man over against him with his sword drawn in his hand. And Joshua went unto him and said unto him, Art thou for us or for our adversaries?" People oftenly come with this question to me.
Yes.
Do you support them or you support their enemies?
Yes.
Do you support us or you support our enemies? So Jericho is where Joshua intended to go and fight. But as on his way to fight the people of Jericho, he met a man whom he didn't know which side he was of these two sides that are going to war. Are you for our side? Are you supporting us? Or you are supporting our adversaries?
Yes.
In which case, if this man was a man of Jericho, definitely Joshua was going to kill him. Let us hear in verse 14 what the men said to Joshua. So they say, it's either you are ZANU-PF or MDC. It's either you are ZANU-PF or Triple C. There is no middle ground. It's not true. This is what Joshua was asking the men.
Yes.
Are you ZANU-PF or you are MDC? Are you a Democrat or you are a Republican? Are you the Labour Party or you are the Conservative? You see,
Yes.
they always think that there is no middle ground. It's either you are for the ruling party or you are for the opposition party. And so we struggle every day
Yes.
when we speak because God has spoken to us.
Mhm.
They want us to say what they want
Mm.
so that they may support us. He's right. If you say something that corrects them, that
Mhm.
rebukes them,
Yeah.
that challenges them,
Mhm.
that reprimands them,
Yes.
they say you are our enemy.
Mm.
You don't want us to see progress.
Yes.
So Joshua asked, do you support our party or you support the opposition?
Yes.
What did the men say to Joshua?
And he said, Nay, but as captain of the host of the Lord am I now come.
Let's end here, Pastor.
Yes.
The angel, it was the angel,
Mhm.
but the angel looked like a man.
Yes.
So Joshua thought he had seen a man.
Yes.
The angel was asked, do you support us, young men, or you support our adversaries? The angel said, I don't support anyone.
Mm.
I don't support you. I don't support your adversaries.
Yes.
I am the captain
Yes.
of the army of God,
Yes.
which simply means I stand with God.
Mm.
I do not
Yes.
have a side.
Yes.
Do you accept that there are such people on earth
Mhm.
who do not support you? They support God.
Yes.
They stand with God.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Zaunenge wabvunzwa uchinzi saka unosapota ripi wewe bato?
Mm.
Mm.
What did Joshua do when the angel said, I am for the army of God?
Yes.
What did Joshua do?
And Joshua fell on his face to the earth and did worship and said unto him, What saith my Lord unto his servant?
When Joshua realized that this is an angel,
Yes.
he fell down.
Mhm.
He said, forgive my nonsense. Forgive me for speaking nonsense.
Yes.
I am your servant.
Mm.
Tell me what I
What
should
you
do.
Yes.
How could I ask you such a stupid question?
Yeah.
You don't need to support us.
Mm.
You stand for the plan of God.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
You identify with God's principles.
Yes.
That's who is Apostle Chiwenga.
Mm.
That's who I am.
Yes.
Yes.
Don't support anyone.
Mm.
I stand with God.
Yes.
So there's a vampire that I saw. And instead of giving you everything that I saw in the vision, I am going to give you the interpretation of the vision, because the details of the vision are very, very graphic, and it's impossible for anyone to interpret the dragon that I saw.
Mhm.
But when I saw the dragon, I was given the interpretation of the vision.
Mhm.
So there is a cartel. There is a cartel, and that cartel is heavily funded.
Mhm.
It is made up of military generals celebrated for their career achievements.
Mhm.
They are expert military professionals. They have tasted the good and the sweet taste of money, and they have been given a task to protect the company, to protect the institution. So this cartel has been given a task to make sure that the party stays in power. And there are people who are given hefty amounts of money to make sure that whatever needs to be done is done. There are people who are going to just be ruling, and there are people who are given the task to make sure that these that are ruling are not moved. They are not disrupted in everything that they are doing. Hundreds of thousands of dollars and millions of dollars are being paid per month so that this dragon, this vampire, can continue to conduct what they are calling operations. Operations everywhere. They've set up provincial offices, district offices, every corner of the country. This dragon has its representatives.
Yes.
The disappearance of opposition members, which we are seeing happening now, it is being carried out by this dragon, this vampire. The plan is to do what is called in political science gerrymandering and election engineering. Gerrymandering is simply changing constituency, political constituencies. You always continue to change them so that whenever an election is done, a constituency is re-pegged and they do a
How is the volume,
delimitation
guys? Can you
to
say
make
something
sure
in the
that
comment
every
section? How is the
candidate
volume? How
of
is the
this
volume?
party is going to have a constituency that has enough people to vote for them. When they see that there are more supporters on this side, the next time they change the boundaries of that constituency. That is what is called gerrymandering, of which election engineering is broad. There is election engineering towards voter registration, election engineering that is done by registration of national identification documents. There are people right now who are getting new identification documents in Zimbabwe. There are people right now, as I talk, who have 2 or 3 national identification documents. When voting starts next year, they are going to vote in 3 places in the same day. And no one is going to know that there's somebody who traveled from Mutoko to go and vote in Mavuku and go back to Mutoko. That is what election engineering is all about. But the abductions are part of the election engineering. What happens is these people have gone to different places in the world to learn how to predict an election outcome even a year before the election. And so what they are doing right now, they've already started making sure that every cog is in its rightful place for ZANU-PF victory to be realized next year. And one of the biggest plans is to use intimidation, but in a different way. People are going to vote for ZANU-PF next year unwillingly. There is going to be so much fear to the extent where you are going to vote for them even without, with a cold heart. Zvakafanana nekunzi ndikise kana kuti ndokuuraya. You can kiss someone usingadi, asi uchiziva kuti I have to do it, otherwise I will die. So they have a plan to make sure that after they are going to abduct someone, kill him, murder someone. After a few days, they murder someone in a different place. After a few days, they murder someone until the whole country is aware that people are dying like rats, like mouse. And then people are going to say, let's just do what they want. So they are killing 1 person per day so that there is not too much outcry, because it's just 1 person killed, and then after a few days, they kill another person. It's a very, very serious issue, and as I talk right now, I'll talk about it later. I want to say something. I want to speak something that I've been trying to really understand myself, but I will say it as it came to me. This is a very serious situation we have. A very serious situation we have. The reason why these murders are happening, it is because they do not want people to die, too many people to die during the voting days, during the campaigning days. So by the time elections happen in 2023, you are going to see on news, on the television, in various newspapers, they are going to say for the first time, elections were violent free. So in order for them to achieve that, they are trying to avoid violence by killing people who would otherwise be attacked during the election time. They are killing them. So there is no need for violence anymore. Because people who are beaten in political violence, they've already died. But people are going to get tired of talking about people who are being abducted and people who are being murdered.
Yes.
So far in the past 4 weeks, we have already lost 3 opposition members to these murders, clinically organized murders. They are strategically organized. So what I'm saying now is
Nkululeko
biggest
Amasilo,
problem we have
that's the best volume that I can get from
as
there.
citizens is
So
that
yeah, that's the best volume that I can get from there. So I can't take it up.
we
anymore.
are
I
too
think if you have got earphones, maybe you can use
simple
earphones.
and naive to the
or-
level where
yeah. I don't know. how
there are
to do
people
it. Maybe
today
I'll have
who
to
think
edit
that
this later.
this so-called new opposition party is going to achieve something different from what was happening in the previous elections. That naivety is worrisome. People who are part of this masquerade, this dragon, this vampire, they are the guarantors of ZANU-PF's stay in power. The elections you are talking about, this vampire has already sent its emissaries and mercenaries into Zimbabwe Electoral Commission. They are the ones who are going to be running the election. So what you are going to do is you are going to go into a football match where the referee is also a player of the opponent team. Why could you expect a match win when the referee who is refereeing this match is a member of the opponent team? Why people are so fanatic and crazy and anxious and excited that this Triple C is going to achieve something? It leaves a lot to be desired. It's amazing. Zvotoshamisa izvozvo kuti vanhu vari kufunga kuti chii chaicho chavari kufungidzira kuti chichasiyana nezvanga zvichiitika makore esa. This vampire I am talking about is so relaxed today, and it has promised its principle that we will deliver to you this election. They are not panicking, they are not worried, they are not concerned. There is nothing that is going to change. What we are seeing today is already the result of the 2023 election. And as I talk to you right now, my heart bleeds for the people whose names are on the target list, whom we are going to continue losing. And people are going to simply be sending comments on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, TikTok, complaining that they condemn the murder of Zimbabwean citizens and criticizing them on social media is not going to yield any effect. This is a very serious problem. And as you shall see in the public statement that I'm going to issue, we are actually pleading with opposition members to discontinue their political activities to save lives. Their political ambitions are going to remain political ambitions. They are not going to materialize. You are going to be surprised by some people who are going to join the ruling party defecting from the opposition. Some of them are going to be intimidated. Some of them are going to be given money. Those who have already been bought out, they are just the beginning of the end of some of the ambitions of the opposition. The situation in Zimbabwe has escalated to very, very dangerous levels. Very, very dangerous levels. And there is also an invisible external hand in the politics of Zimbabwe. one of the foreign hands is of a Chinese nature. To date, China has invested about 4 billion US dollars in Zimbabwe. And China knows the volatility in Zimbabwean politics. And one of the effects of this external hand is that they are resourcing this vampire to protect the party because of the Chinese investments. The Chinese want to protect their money. The Chinese have poured in money, and the people of Zimbabwe have not benefited from those investments. The money invested ended up in the pockets of the so-called political elite. So China is going to lose if ZANU-PF loses an election. So China is a guarantor again of electoral victory to ZANU-PF. If you remember, in 2013, China gave ZANU-PF more than 200 million US dollars to campaign with. This is a fact. You can go and check history. How do our Zimbabwean people accept that a political party is sponsored by as giant an economic player as China as a country? If MDC was given that money by Europe, was the ZANU-PF ruling party going to accept it? For how long has China been giving ZANU-PF money to use during election time? It's true what I'm telling you, that in the 2013, 2018 elections, China gave them money to use to campaign. So when you are talking about the 2023 election, you must also consider China and Chinese interests. Whatever you think is going to happen, you must make sure China is part of your considerations.
Yes.
Whether you want to play a part or whether you are trying to just do some scientific analysis. As an analyst, if you are not going to consider China, you are going to come up with very, very unrealistic analysis.
Yes.
This is very difficult and this is very dangerous. China itself does not accept anyone it's illegal to be sponsored by a foreign power when you are trying to practice politics in China, although we know as a communist state, it's a one-party state, but you go to prison if you are found to be conspiring with a foreign power. How does ZANU-PF accuse opposition parties of being sponsored by the West when they are also being sponsored by the East? What do we say about the level of this hypocrisy? These are some of the things that an ordinary citizen is not able to say. And as a man of God, I am not a political analyst. I'm speaking these things because the duty of a prophet is not just to tell you what shall happen. Sometimes I have to enlighten you on how things are going to happen,
Yes.
to broaden your judgment, as it were, and your sense and your understanding. Very, very dangerous. But there's other bigger problems. The first problem is that, like I told you some few weeks ago, the government has acquired a dangerous set of equipment from Israel, from a company called Secos. This company specializes in inventing, manufacturing, and selling spy equipment. It is one of the best Middle Eastern companies at these technological gadgets. Our government is now able to listen to your calls without needing to go through to your telecommunication service provider. Before, they used it to intercept calls because every telecommunications service provider is instructed by the Act, is also regulated by POTRAS, that they will be able to follow up to make sure that they can use those communications to do investigations for this, for justice purposes, to prosecute criminals and so forth. But they would need to go and install their equipment so that they can have a connectivity with the telecommunication service provider. The new equipment they have now, they don't need Econet, Tel1 or Telecel to listen to your calls. They will listen to your calls without communicating with Econet. It's a very, very dangerous equipment, and almost all dictatorships have acquired this kind of equipment. You must remember, one of the countries that have acquired this equipment is Belarus, which is also a dictatorship, and other despotic regimes. And this equipment I'm talking about, it is handed over to this vampire so that they can hunt for the targeted political opponents and eliminate them. On top of that, they've also acquired a certain chemical, very, very dangerous. Instead of poisoning your food so that you die tomorrow, they have now laid on their hands to a chemical that can kill you 3 months after the day of your poisoning. And once you die, the pathological examinations are never going to be, if they are standard equipment, they are not going to be able to tell that this person did not die of a natural disease, because this chemical is an agent that attacks different parts of your body. They attack your nervous system, they attack your lungs, they attack your heart. Others are going to die of heart attack, others are going to die of so-called cancer. Suddenly, you are going to hear that you are diagnosed of cancer. It is because of this chemical. And why this is dangerous? It is because for the first time, they are going to be able to kill someone without touching him, because they can shoot a dart and then you are going to be pinged with a small granule that contains this poison, and you are going to feel like it's just a sting from a bee or something that is less painful, and you are going to forget about it, and you are going to live as normal. 3-4 months later, you are going to be sick, and in a few days you are going to die, and nobody is going to suspect them. This is a dangerous chemical. This is a dangerous capacity. I want to ask this question: why is our government investing so much money in acquiring things that hurt its own citizens? Why can't they use that money to improve building proper roads? Not these ill-constructed roads, which can't even last a year. The roads that Mr. Mnangagwa is building, they are substandard roads, all of them. If we are given a chance to have proper leaders, we are going to start afresh to building those roads. Why can't he use that money instead of acquiring chemicals to kill opponents? Why can't he supply medicines to hospitals? It's very dangerous. The Zimbabwean politicians are in a friendship with a dangerous country. I don't want to release the details. Our government has become too close to a very dangerous government that is very notorious for manufacturing nerve agents that kill political or perceived political opponents from a distance. This is not good. This is not good. This is not good.
Yes.
They are going to hire and recruit what they call intelligence assets, people who are basically handled by intelligence operatives, and they are paid few dollars to carry out clandestine intelligence and military operations. They are going to recruit waiters and cooks from upmarket restaurants where political elite opposition members go and eat from. And you are going to walk into a restaurant and order food. And those people are going to have a list of targets. Whenever a politician enters their restaurant, they check on their list. If they see you are there, they poison you in your food. You don't suffer that day. You don't get sick that day. You are going to be fined for 3, 4, 5 months, and then you get sick. Within 2 months, you are dead. And this is what I said. Why I said there is a dark cloud. And I was talking to some few people yesterday, and I said there's a dark cloud hovering above us, and we need to pray for people who are instrumental in crying out for a change of things in our country, people who are asking the government to behave responsibly, people who are advocating for the preservation of life in Zimbabwe, political activists, journalists, and civic society activists. I want us to pray for them, because we are likely going to lose one of the most instrumental persons in our country through these tactics and weird and very, very wicked strategies which they are using now. My advice to the so-called politicians, especially from the opposition, they should minimize their exposure to the public. They must reduce their frequency to go and eat from restaurants, especially in Zimbabwe. Because if you're on the target list, you are never going to know that you have been poisoned. And you are going to be said to have died of a natural cause. And for the first time, people are never going to suspect ZANU-PF. The doctors are going to write, he died of pneumonia, he died of cardiac arrest. But what causes the cardiac arrest? It may be a cardiac arrest. What triggered the cardiac arrest? It's a very, very nefarious and aggressive and dangerous chemical agent acquired by the state to eliminate perceived political opponents. It's a dark cloud that is hovering over Zimbabwe right now. Let us pray that the people we are having hope on, they may last until this time next year. Let us pray that all of them, they may last until this time next year. It's a prayer that you need to make. Now, as I talk to you right now, I'm a survivor of political violence. I survived 2 assassination attempts. I have injuries on my body right now in the hands of these barbaric ZANU-PF terrorists who tried to kill me on the road. So I know that on the list of those who are going to be targeted, definitely my name is there. I don't lose sleep about it. But the reason why I'm sharing this with you, I also want you to know that as long as you are known for holding the government accountable, every death should be suspected. Every death of those who are perceived to be enemies of the state in Zimbabwe, everyone's death from this point onwards, they should be suspected. And of the deaths that need to be investigated, I am not casting aspersions, I am not pointing a blaming finger, but I want you to ask yourself, did Dewa Mavunga die a natural death? Did Alex Magaisa die a natural death? I want to ask this question. I knew Dewa Mavunga. He was a friend of mine. He was a human rights activist. He was based in London. He ran a program called Human Rights Watch. And if you go to YouTube right now, you are going to watch his videos. He interviewed women who were raped by the soldiers after the mass shooting of citizens in 2018. He interviewed people who are drinking contaminated water in Harare. He interviewed victims of political violence. He was advocating for the protection of citizens, not only in Zimbabwe, but all over Africa. Did he die a natural death? Did he actually die of COVID? Did Alex Magaisa die of a heart attack, which was caused by pre-existing medical conditions? How sure are you? Oh, he was in England, so he was safe. Pray for Africa so that they may not be too naive. As I talk to you now, people are going to be given money to fly to different countries to go and assassinate those who are using foreign lands as a safe hub from which they are recording videos on TikTok and YouTube and Facebook and Twitter criticizing the Zimbabwean government. They are going to send mercenaries flying to China, flying to Europe, flying to South Africa, flying to Botswana, to Namibia, to Kenya, hunting for the perceived political opponents. And they're going to come back and relax. And after a few weeks, we are going to hear Mr. So-and-so has died. He suffered from a natural problem. Mr. So-and-so has died. He was suffering from this disease. And everyone is going to say, it's a natural death. Death is for us, or everyone is going to die. You can't blame ZANU-PF for everyone's death. It's a dangerous situation. But in the midst of all these things that I'm saying now, you must know that God is watching, and God has his own way, his own plans. I am not even sure, as I talk to you right now, whether myself I will be alive by this time next year, because there has been so many meetings held by these people, this vampire. They are trying as much as possible to use everything in their disposal to find out, where am I? Last time I shared a video, I did a public statement when they sent people down there to South Africa to try and find out if I was there. So as I talk to you now, I always know that I am not entitled to meeting with you again or to do another utterance again to speak on Zimbabwe. It may be my last speech to you. When I heard that they had mutilated More Blessing Alice's body, I could imagine that they were going to do the same if they find me. They can do the same to me. The reason why God kept me alive to this day, it is because God found it necessary to use me to speak openly and educate my fellow countrymen on some of the things that are affecting our land. The people of Zimbabwe must know that ZANU-PF has declared war on them. We are no longer at a time of peace. We are now in a time of war. But this is a strategic war. They have decided to kill us one by one so that we may take longer to realize that it's a war. And in a war situation, you don't seek to negotiate with the enemy who is attacking you without you taking a position to fire back to defend yourself. And this is where our opposition parties are doing us a disservice and disappointing us.
Yes.
Mr. Chamisa's strategy is not working in Zimbabwe. It's not. It's not going to work again. This vampire I am talking about is made up of military generals, intelligence, gurus, people who are living in upmarket suburbs, driving luxurious vehicles, earning thousands of US dollars a month. Taking ZANU-PF out of power is snatching food from their mouths.
Yes.
They are never going to let it go without a fight. Elections are not going to work for us. My advice to them is they should stop their political activities until they sit down and find a strategy that brings them and equips them to match the enemy they are facing. The book of Luke chapter 14 has got a very graphic analysis of our Zimbabwean problem, because what we have now, we have a situation where the opposition leaders are convening rallies, asking their parties to wear, the members to wear political regalia. After the rally, Mr. Chamisa and his comrades, they go to their suburbs.
Mhm.
They are living inside walled and gated homes. They are hiring security guards. They have installed CCTV cameras. They are armed. They have dogs. But their members, they live in Chitungwiza. They live in Budiriro. They live in Glenora.
Yes.
Some of them are living in homes where there is no security at all. So the murderers are coming at night, taking them, killing them. And all that we are getting is a public statement, a press statement, a press release. May his soul rest in peace. One by one, our brothers and sisters are being murdered. It is irresponsible for the opposition leaders to continue with their political activities, especially seeing that their activists, their members are killed. They are brutally murdered. They are dying in their numbers every day because of these activities. Their own wives are safe. Their own children are safe. It is our brothers and sisters, ordinary poor citizens, who are being murdered. A press statement is not going to bring back more Blessing Ali. A Twitter message from Fadzai Mahere is not going to send more Blessing Ali's children to school. This is a war. This is a serious matter. It is not student activism. This is not University of Zimbabwe Student Representative Council. This is not. This is somebody's future,
Yes.
somebody's livelihood. Somebody's children are not going to go to school because their father was murdered. Somebody's family is going to starve because of these politics. This is not right. It's not responsible. I am accusing our opposition political activists and leaders of practicing reckless politics that is putting their members as pawns in a political chess game, sacrificing their members so that they may appear on a press statement video, dressed in expensive clothes, speaking fluent English, but with no plan to promise their members that no opposition member shall be killed again. We are going to do this to protect you. Condemning ZANU-PF is not going to intimidate ZANU-PF into stopping their murder. This is dangerous. This is dangerous. May God comfort the families of those that are bereaved. The Ali family, the Dube family, the Ngube family, who is the other one? Who was murdered in Zengeza?
Chinembiri.
The Chinembiri family. May God comfort them. I feel for them. 3 years ago, I lost my loved ones as well in the same way.
Yes.
I know the a feeling of that loss. I know that. May God give them comfort and give them strength to deal with the horrific loss of their loved ones. May God send them angels to feed their families now that their breadwinners have been murdered. May God comfort the children who are waking up in the morning and asking, where is my mother? And the adults have nothing to say to them. They can't tell little children, your mother was mutilated by a certain man who lives 1.5 kilometers from where we are. That man is walking free right now.
Right,
And
guys.
it's possible
Please let's share
that
this
tomorrow
live.
is
You
coming
can
back
also share
to
the
kill
live
some of
broadcast
us.
that Apostle
This
Chiwenga
is
is
dangerous.
preaching on
And this
on
is
YouTube.
unacceptable.
But if you
Statements
can
to
share this
condemn
live
this
broadcast
violence
so
and
that
murders,
we
it's
can
not enough.
reach many people as we can.
The
Please,
people of
guys,
Zimbabwe
let's do
must
that.
demand
Let's
more
share
from
this
the
live.
opposition.
Take as many
If they
people as we
can't do
can.
more than
This
a
is even
statement
people are coming
condemning
back
these
from
horrific
church.
facts,
So let's take as many
horrific
people as we
acts,
can
they should
so
shut
that this
down
live
the
can be
opposition parties.
can
Let
be heard by many
everyone
people.
accept
you.
that we can't do anything about our problem.
Yes.
Let's all die as game in the hands of monstrous idiots and monstrous animals. This is not nice.
Yes.
We are the church and we represent the true church of God. We speak from God's mind. The opposition leaders are passively participating in the murder of Zimbabwean citizens
Yes.
through their apathy. Is it possible that some of the opposition leaders are given money behind closed doors to practice mouth politics and create an image that there is opposition politics in Zimbabwe, but the party, the ruling party must continue to reign? Is it possible? It's a question. Hatina vanhu vari kupiwa mari here vachinzi imi tichauraya vanhu vakawanda, imi hatimbokubatai. Imi kana tauraya munongoenda papress statement munotikondema. Kana election yauya munongoitawo ruzha. Tichikokupaiwo nekuseri tichikodya tese. Toda kuti vari kunze kwenyika vafunge kuti muno mune opposition. Kuti zviriko zvakadaro izvozvo. Zimbabwe now needs a liberator. We are going to need to go into a struggle for freedom. We are going to need to fight for the liberation of Zimbabwe from colonization from another black man. It appears in 1980, we were not delivered and liberated from colonialism. They just gave us another colonizer with a black face. We need a liberator.
Right, guys, please let's
There are
share this
people
live with as many
who
people as we
need to
can.
sit down and ask
Let's share this
themselves,
live. Let's share this live.
God
Let's
has
share this
given me
live.
certain
Let's share
abilities.
this live broadcast,
Are
please,
these
guys.
abilities
I want
not
you to
given
reach
to
as many
me
people as
for a
you
certain
can.
purpose as this?
We're going to do
For
a
such
review
a
of
time
this
as
live
this,
broadcast. It's a
to
very
stand
powerful,
up
very
and
loaded, very
defend
pregnant
the
with
weaklings
a
that
lot of
we have
things
in
that
our
we need to
country.
look at. So please, let's share this live
We
broadcast
need a new
as
generation
as
of
much as we
people
can.
who
I
are
appreciate
going to
that.
start to establish a new strategy and a new approach to offer an alternative solution to our homegrown problems. Just imagine if Julius Malema was a Zimbabwean. Just ask yourself, what would he have done to address the murder of Blessing Ali? Yes, the environments are different. I'm just saying, just imagine. Just imagine. We need people who are going to practice mature politics, who are not going to use somebody's misfortune to advance a political agenda. People who are using deaths of their members to advance their own personal political agenda. Some of the statements we are hearing from the so-called press statements, you can hear that they are not coming from the heart. You can feel that these people are not affected by what has happened to their members. Some of the problems are caused by giving responsibilities to children who do not have an experience of the struggles of the people.
Yes.
We need adults in these things, not just in terms of age, but in terms of experience. Some of the people you are promoting to senior national positions, you are shooting yourself in the foot. There are adults who are going to say to you, why can I join a children's play? Inotodzeva nights. Gaya vana vatambe. Kana vakuru vakuda kuita something, tichazoungana.
Yes.
There are things that adults should be left to do. Proper adults, mature people, people who can speak from their heart and share the sorrow of their fellow party members, the grief of their party members. People are not looking for an eloquent orator, a motivational speaker. People want a leader.
Yes.
Munofunga kuti chirungu chinokuita leader. Taura chirungu chiri correct. Chitaura semunhu ane 17 years.
Yes.
You don't have an experience of what other people have gone through. Right now, more blessing Ali's children are orphaned. They don't have a mother.
Yes.
They can't have anyone to embrace them when they are sick. When you talk, show that emotion. So that when we suffer, I know that I'm suffering from something that we all feel about. Don't love the cameras like that. It's not good. Nofarama cameras zvakanyanya. There are going to be some of the nails that are going to be the nails of your political coffins. Where are the adults? I want to speak to strangers. I want to speak to people who I know I can't describe very well, but I know they will know that I'm talking to them. There are people that I'm talking to right now. God gave you what you have for such a time as this one. It is selfish for you to leave people strangled to death when you are holding the knife that can cut the noose of the rope. It is not right. Stand up and take up your responsibility. There are people who are given certain abilities by God that are going to be national assets which can be used to help people in times of need. Those people are living luxury lives. They are comfortable. They don't want to come out and stand with the people of Zimbabwe because they themselves are comfortable. That is selfish. You should stand up and be a citizen who is patriotic. Thomas Jefferson, the US president, said, when lawlessness becomes normal in a country, resistance becomes a duty. It is a duty to resist these kinds of ills. Finally, there's something that I'm praying for these days. I'm praying so that God may give Zimbabwean citizens a heart of a man and take away the heart of animals from us. Our people feel nothing when their fellow countrymen are being brutalized. That is a manifestation of a curse. As I talk right now, I'm still praying to God for the animal heart to be replaced with a gentle heart of a compassionate human being, a compassionate Zimbabwean citizen who feels the pain when his neighbor is feeling pain, who feels the grief when the neighbor is aggrieved, who feels the pain and the sorrow when your fellow countryman has been abused. This is what makes Zimbabwe different from South Africa. This is what makes Zimbabwe different from the United States of America. The so-called education has caused a very, very negative effect on our humanity. Our people are extremely selfish, and they think it's a sign of civilization. It's a shame. May God remember us. We are in a very torrid time. There's a dark cloud hovering above us. May God preserve the men and women who have been holding the small glimmer of hope that we are left with at a time when we are being choked. People cannot breathe. Thank you very much. I'm coming back with a sermon. Stay with us.
All right. Those that have been watching, thank you so much for everyone that has been watching this live broadcast, quite a lengthy broadcast. But I'm going to pick some of the points that have been raised. The first point that we picked up was that there is a dragon that is in form of the military that is making sure that the 2023 elections are won. And he spoke about the issue of the issuance of ID cards that is happening in secret right now. And number two, he also touched on the issue of the murdering of people that is happening, whereby people get murdered and it will get to a point whereby people are going to vote for the ruling party, not because they love the ruling party, but because they are tired of seeing people being killed. So those are some of the things that are going to happen in 2023. And he also mentioned the fact that opposition party, Triple C in particular, which is the biggest contender in Zimbabwe, is not doing enough to protect their members. And I have been like, there are some of the things that I've posted on this channel that if we are going to expect the 2023 election to deliver Zimbabwe to us, we will be so much naive because the political grounds are not even. There is a lot of things that are so much uneven. We hear people talking about the political, the electoral reforms. They are far from favoring the citizens, and they will never favor the citizens because ZANU-PF will not reform itself out of power. That is a non-fact. So now what he's saying, it is very, very important for us to look at that opposition party Triple C. How many members have they lost in these past 3 weeks? How many members have they lost in the past 3 weeks? This is an intimidating process which is happening. Imagine those people that have their houses torched. Was there money that was raised to by the opposition party leaders to help those people who lost their houses in Nyatsime College, in Nyatsime side currently? Those are some of the things. I saw some of the people are saying that we are on the ground, we are fighting the enemy, but cowards, you run away. I don't think that this is a very reckless statement, if I can put it that way. Crystal's entertainment production. It's a very reckless statement because what you are saying is what Apostle Chiwenga is saying, our leaders are not leading from the front. What if the opposition party leaders were going to go in the streets and say, kill us for us to have A, B, C, D be addressed? But if we are going to have opposition leaders who are going to come and condemn using Twitter places or anything, that is not going to solve the problem. You saw what Julius Malema has been doing. The reason why people fight for Julius Malema is because he is on the ground. He has identified. You have seen what happened to him in parliament. He made parliament to be enjoyable. He changed that. Julius Malema was there. He is leading from the front. We are not seeing that. He was there when there was political violence in what do you call this place in KZN, when the ANC was blocking him. He was there. He said, "I'm here." So what we are not seeing from our leaders is they are not leading from the front. Anyway, that was one of the things that we are hearing from this prophecy. But tell me what you think about this prophecy. It was so loaded. Please go and listen to the prophecy in its entirety, so that you can actually get blessed by it. But I want to say thank you to everyone that has been watching and sharing this live broadcast. I really appreciate. We are going to come back tonight. We are still going to have Angelica tonight on the show, so that we can finalize on the issue of a ticket. A ticket is not yet bought, and we need to finalize that tonight. So, and also find out how much money does she have. So we're going to come back tonight and talk about that. So please stay tuned. We are also trying to get hold of other political party leaders so that they can be also on the show tonight, because Sunday is our political Sunday. So please stay tuned on the channel and keep on watching JCTV Africa, and share this broadcast with as many people as you can, so that you can reach many people. And the warnings that have been given, they are very paramount and they need to be adhered to. And there is also the other issue that has been told, that there are mercenaries that are going to be sent to kill or to eliminate people or opposition party leader or opposition people, and they must be careful where they eat. They must be careful who they mingle with, because some of these weapons that they are going to use, they are like what happened to this guy, Dr. Alex Magaisa. I saw my brother Simbachi Kanza was being baffled, being rebuked on social media when he said that he was not happy with the company that Alex Magaisa was keeping before his death, because this man called Pangano, who was now a confidante of Alex Magaisa, was of no good. So you must be careful who do you mingle with and which places do you go to if you are part of the opposition. So these are some of the warnings that have been given, and I hope they will reach. They are not going to reach deaf ears. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, follow us, and we continue to give you live and direct news as they happen. I am going to go back into the service, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Let me just read some of the comments before I close. Okay. Here, which is they are killing innocent people in Zimbabwe, and the government must not give a blind eye. Yeah, that's what he is saying. The government is not going to listen. There is no one who is going to listen when there is no resistance. So, thinking that the government of Zimbabwe is just going to become soft on people is being naive to the highest order. Something must give. The government of Zimbabwe, something must give for them to come to a point whereby they say, I think we need to stop this. So how can the people of Zimbabwe and our leaders push the current government to such a position whereby they say, we cannot, the liberation war was not won on soft approach. There was an aggressive approach. And that aggressive approach, how can it be implemented in Zimbabwe? How can we achieve that? Apartheid was ended by an aggressive approach. There is no way you can win a war and we are not using an aggressive approach. Ours is a soft approach. We think that we are like Zambia. Zambia is different from us, So I don't want to be disappointed in 2023 because of what I'm seeing. Some people are mocking Professor Jonathan Moy, saying that, this part does not have structures. These structures must be put in place in order to make sure that you achieve what you want to achieve. If you want to see 2023 having a strong opposition, you must build it from the structures. And those structures, I'm not seeing them being there. Anyway, some people, they believe in miracles. Maybe 2023 is going to be miracles. But I am telling you, it's important to register to vote. It's important to participate in the plebiscite. But our leaders are not doing enough, and they need to be called out so that they can protect the citizens and they can also protect what is happening for the betterment of the future. Thank you so much, Dora. Deborah Mtondo? Yes, our leaders might have been bought. Vakatiza one party. You don't just back come just blame the killers, not individuals. They've been blamed a lot of times, these people, and they have not done anything, they suppose kuhle moyo nomacaba. Reminds me of Nyayazi akaurayisa vanhu vake zvakangofanana nachamisa zvakangosiyana shoma. Ekron. All right, yeah, he's talking about the same one, Ekron. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you. I don't want to keep on wasting your data and your time. See you on the next episode. I'm going back to the church service. I'll see you later. Ciao, ciao.